Hi, ArcFieldWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday morning, December the 4th. Looks like a continuation of kind of a back and forth temperature pattern across the eastern U.S. over the next couple of weeks. We have a moderate cold couple of days coming up here at the beginning of this new work week. We get much milder by the upcoming weekend, and then probably a big time rain event along the eastern seaboard comes Sunday into Sunday night, followed by a pretty good cold shot into the eastern states for the early part of next week. That will not be, however, sustained cold. It looks like that may stick around for a few days and then we get warmer again. But by the time we get to the latter part of the month of December, probably the third week of the month of December, we'll start seeing more and more winter-like conditions in the eastern states. There certainly will be some very cold air masses around in the northern hemisphere. We'll talk about that over the next few minutes here. We have an ongoing stratospheric warming event, and certainly it looks like it'll contribute to some excessive cold across Eurasia over the next couple of weeks here, and we'll kind of point that out over the next few minutes. Let's take a look at the latest Madden-Julian oscillation, and this is a particular kind of a plot that shows the particular phase or location of a tropical disturbance that kind of propagates along the tropical region at a regular clip. And depending on the time of the year and depending on the current location of that tropical disturbance, there are certain kinds of temperature and precipitation patterns that often follow, depending again on that phase or that location of the tropical disturbance. This particular map shows in red where we stand right now, and it's the phases are shown over in this part of these regions here. We're going through warm phases over the next week to 10 days or so. As it turns out, phase 7, 8, and 1 are typically colder than normal phases, colder than normal weather conditions across the central and eastern states this time of the year. And again, the MJO is telling us that during the second half of December, it looks like we'll be headed into those cold phases, first phase 7 and then likely phase 8 after that. So certainly by the between the 15th and the 20th, it looks like the MJO will be setting us up for, at least will be indicating that colder and colder weather conditions will become more and more sustained during the second half of December in the central and eastern U.S. But for the next week to 10 days or so, going through some warm phases, so we're not going to lock in that cold pattern yet for the eastern U.S. Well, let's take a look at the latest snow map across the northern hemisphere. It's quite extensive on the other side of the pole here. One of the areas we highlighted during the winter outlook was this 50-degree latitude line right in this region right here. And the snow cover in that area on the other side of the pole has been found to be pretty well correlated with some cold weather into the eastern U.S. in subsequent winter months. And indeed, a very widespread snowpack here across Eurasia. We're looking at Siberia and places near that 60-degree latitude line. Now, portions of Europe still without snow. This is Portugal, Spain, France here, but a lot of snow now across the Scandinavian countries and the northern part of Europe, and certainly Eurasia. We'll see in a moment here that will contribute to some very, very cold air, well below normal for this time of the year, over the next week to 10 days or so. And here we go. Take a look at this forecast map. This is from yesterday's ensemble run of the European model for the 10th of December. So we're about a week or so away from this particular verification time. But look at this. What we're looking at here is Eurasia over here, Siberia, and Scandinavian countries of Europe. Now, Western Europe warms up at this particular time. We're looking at here Portugal, Spain, France, Southern Europe as well, warmer than normal, Greece and Italy. But boy, the rest of Northern Europe, Scandinavian countries, and especially Eurasia here, Siberia, where we just saw a moment ago, very, very widespread snowpack here, way below normal. And when you're way below normal, this time of the year, December 10th, these are some incredible temperatures. So we'll be looking for that over the next week to 10 days or so. Again, this is a forecast map for the 10th of December. Now, we've talked about the stratospheric warming event. Certainly, this is contributing to some excessive cold on the other side of the pole for now. But this is often a kind of a precursor to colder weather pattern coming to the central and eastern U.S. It typically starts off in Europe, Eurasia, and look at this here by 10 days from now, by the 10th of December, about a week from now, very, very impressive cold. And this no doubt become quite a newsmaker in that part of the northern hemisphere. Well, let's get back to the continental U.S. and take a look at last night's conventional run of the GFS at 0Z. We're looking at 850 millibar temperature anomalies, and again, kind of a back and forth pattern continues in terms of temperature pattern for the central and eastern U.S. Not only this week, probably next week as well. We definitely have some cold shots coming, but it'll become more and more sustained as we get through the second half of the month of December. Here we are starting off Monday, December 4th, and we'll just push through here. Again, some moderate cold air over the next few days in the mid-Atlantic region, in the northeast U.S. Here we go by Wednesday, midweek, much above normal conditions across the northern plains, the south central part of Canada. Colder than normal continues to hang on in the eastern states going into the day on Thursday. But then we'll warm up significantly across the mid-Atlantic, northeast U.S. by the time we get to the upcoming weekend. This is that Saturday morning forecast map. Again, we're looking at 850 millibar temperature anomalies, and there could very well be a significant rain event along the eastern seaboard Sunday night time frame. Here we go with a strong frontal system depicted here by Sunday evening. A lot of cold air behind it, a lot of very warm air well above normal ahead of it. Again, likely a very significant rain event along the east coast late in the upcoming weekend, and that will be followed by a significant cold shot into the early part of next week, but not the beginning of a sustained period. It looks like we'll warm up again perhaps by the middle part of next week, only to be followed again by some cold. But look at this, by the end of next week, already warming up again upstream northern plains, southwestern Canada. So again, another couple of weeks of back and forth temperature pattern here. Cold shots followed by warming up, cold shot followed by warming up across the central and eastern U.S. Now, in terms of precipitation, we do have a clipper system to deal with in the mid-Atlantic region, the northeast U.S., basically Tuesday night into the day on Wednesday. It's a fast mover, hence it's a clippers-like system, and it's kind of starved of moisture, so it's relatively weak overall. We'll move forward here as we begin the day on Monday. Again, this is using the 0Z run of the GFS. Here's the clipper system by tomorrow morning, and it moves into some colder air, so there certainly can be some snowflakes mixed in. Basically look for a touch of rain and or snow, mid-Atlantic region later tomorrow night into the day on Wednesday. That clipper system drops quickly all the way to the western part of the Atlantic Ocean by midweek, and then we move into the latter part of the week, and it looks like a big time warm-up comes back into the eastern states by the time we get to Friday and Saturday, and then we'll take a look here what develops here by the time we get to Sunday morning. A strong storm system heads to the Midwest, to the north and west of the I-95 corridor region. A lot of south to north flow of air along the eastern states by the second half of the upcoming weekend. In other words, we'll be setting up for a significant rain event along the east coast comes Sunday night time frame. Once that passes on through, here we are next Monday, a week from right now, a significant cold shot comes back into the Midwest, to Great Lakes, to northeast U.S., and the Mid-Atlantic region for the early part of next week. So we'll continue to monitor the MJO as we go through the next couple of weeks or so, and look for a very severe cold shot coming to Eurasia, places like Siberia where there's a deep snowpack already later next week into the following week, and that could be a precursor for some sustained colder than normal air masses coming into the central and eastern U.S. later this month. That's it for now. For ArcFieldWeather.com, this has been meteorologist Paul Dorian.